こんにちは。ENC 静岡チャンネルへようこそ。団体代表の関根トニーです。そして今回はスタッフインタビューで関根ジョセリンを呼びました。よろしくお願いします。
はい。
名字が関根なのは偶然じゃなくて結婚してるから私と同じ関根の名字なんですけど、その辺にしてじゃあまず簡単に自己紹介からお願いしていいですか? So could you give brief self-introduction?
Okay. So my name is Jocelyn. I'm Malaysian. I am 35 years old and I moved to Japan 3 years ago after I got married to Tony. So I'm a proud wife to Tony, Sakine, and together we have 2 children, Joe and Mia. And since the children came, I have been very involved in the house and the family, and so I don't have as much time with students as I would like, but every now and then I try my best to meet you guys.
Well, I think you are meeting students very often. And I think what's most impressive about your upbringing here is that you are a college teacher back in Malaysia, teaching psychology. You went through the masters of clinical psychology, and you taught students actually. And also you are part of ENC Kuala Lumpur, so you have talked to many students and see them grown up, and some of them still having consistent relationship with them. And then now you are here, being 3 years and relating to students here in Shizuoka. What would be your impression of Japanese students comparing with Malaysian students, which you have seen many of them?
Okay. So firstly, Japanese culture is really unique, and the homogeneity of this culture really is reflected in the campus students that we meet.
In Malaysia, for the viewers who are not familiar with Malaysia is really a multicultural place. There is Malay, Chinese, Indians, and Orang Asli, which is the original people there. By the way, so Malaysia is very multicultural
and very diverse. So when I came to Japan and I realized how homogeneous the society is, it is reflected in the students that we meet. So one of the things I noticed about Japanese students is many of them have very similar needs. And I think because the pathway that they go through from maybe childhood to adulthood is quite the same, options are not as diverse as perhaps in Malaysia, because here there is a better way of doing it, which is this career pathway that is quite fixed. So I think Japanese students' needs are quite similar. What they need for shukatsu and how they wish to pass the exams and graduate from high school. But also the challenges is that I noticed with Japanese students is that there is a need to be unique in their contribution, to find themselves and discover who they are, and not just be one of them and one of the many. And I think trying to understand them using psychology background is really helpful to unearth what is unique and special about each student that we meet. So I think that's the big difference. They are very same, but yet they really want to be different too.
I think that's a difference between multicultural and monocultural as well, because if you grew up in Malaysia, I used to live there for 6 months or so. Like who you are in a way is quite fixed already. That's something that you don't have to think about a lot. If you were born as Chinese and that part is fixed, and that's which you're already different from many other. Though there's Chinese community, but you are different. But here, if you are like born here as Japanese, like from both Japanese parents, and which is quite similar to many others, and maybe made them think more about like what's the difference among them and I. So I think what you brought up is a really interesting point from multicultural view. And also, you taught psychology for how many years?
5 years.
5 years.
To undergraduate students, just like you guys.
So, does your psychological background, your study, any relevant to like in terms of relating to students here, does it help you? And if it does, then how does it help you?
Yeah, so I think all of us use psychology, just that you may not know the concept or the term behind it, but I think we use psychology in our everyday life. But having a psychology background has really helped me in being a volunteer for ENC. Firstly is having an empathy for the mental health issues in student life, and we have some friends who have gone through, students who have gone through shukatsu and now are working, and we have really seen how much stress and pressure they have gone through. And so I would be really concerned about their mental health and how they're doing emotionally and in their mind in relating with this pressure around them. So I think psychology background has helped me to ask good questions and questions that can help me to understand them better in terms of their emotion, the mind, and what is really going through in their hearts. Yeah. So psychology has also been very relevant in how we deal with workshops, and both of us, we discuss a lot of things about how to help students in their workshop ideas, and how to just help students to meet their needs. So I'm really thankful I have psychology as background.
Yeah, actually, that's an interesting point that we use psychology. Not like every day. Everyone uses it every day, which might not be in academic form, but we think about our mind as well, our own minds. And I think what's really good to have you here in ENC community in Shizuoka is that mental health is such a big issue in this country. Maybe many other places too, but comparing with like aviation, for example, started in the Philippines, Manila, and of course there's mental health issue, but poverty would be the main issue. That's what they are working on. For example, there's Real Life Foundation, and Malaysia, somewhat, poverty is there, human trafficking is there. Malaysian ENC is like working on it, working to prevent that to happen. But if you ask what would be the biggest issue here, like the really urgent need would be, I think many of us and international people as well would bring up the suicide issue. There's very high suicide rate and mental health. So I think having you here, though there's language barrier, you will still study in Japanese, but I can help that as a husband. And so there's a place. Of course, you can make friends, but also you can be listened to from like professional person in counseling. So I think that is helping this community a lot.
I think one of the research have shown that one of the biggest protective factor preventing mental health from becoming worse and worse in a person is actually community support. So having strong social support from either family or just your school community, or even outside community like ENC, is really, really important. So when we talk to students, we want to find out what social support do you have. And as a team, we try to give the best that we can to students who are really struggling with depression or anxiety or just shukatsu. So I like to encourage, if you do not have a community support, I think ENC is one option, and we'll be more than happy to be your friend.
And especially this time, many classes are online, and many circles cannot do their own activities. Difficult to find community. Addition to our original cultural context, which I talked with Yu-chan when I had here. Japanese people quite private in general, and I think that's fair enough, and difficult to make friends. Some of students, former freshmen, told me that it took about a year to make single friend. College is not like high school where many people from same area comes together, but depending on university, but some university has people from like outside of Shizuoka prefecture or even outside of Japan. So maybe that really making it slightly difficult to make friends, find community. So I just think what I want to say is that we want to help students that way, to be in a community that they can easily join and make friends. So at last, if there's any comments to the viewers, especially I think there are viewers who are kind of now curious about ENC Shizuoka, but haven't really joined us yet. So especially to those viewers, if you could give any comments to this camera.
Okay. So I'm Malaysian, and Malaysia is famous for their food diversity. So far, Japanese people who come to my home and I cook them Malaysian food they really enjoy. I would love to host you and share with you some Malaysian food or Malaysian culture. Or if you're curious about Malaysian people, I'm one of them. But more than that is I just want to encourage you to just try us out. And if you like us, you can continue staying. If not, of course, you're free to go. So please do come and join us in our gathering.
マレーシア料理ってのお店って日本であんまりないけど、うちに来れば食べれるんです。マレーシアの食事は結構世界的にも有名だけど、It's very famous here, I mean in the world. でも日本ではあんまり食べれないので、ぜひうちへどうぞ。というわけでじゃあ最後に告知をしましょう。4月の10日土曜日午後2時から、ENC 静岡オンラインズーム体験会をします。ジョセリも私もそこにいます。なので、ぜひ興味あるなと思ったら、まずそこちょっと覗きに来て、どんな感じかなって、見てもらえればなって思います。で、その次の週、4月17日土曜日、こちらも2時から、JR 静岡駅の7階第1会議室でですね、この時は実際に集まって新入生歓迎会をやる予定です。なのでそこで、もしズームで来てもらって、いいなと思ったら来てもらえたらいいし、もちろんそっち参加しなくても興味あったらぜひ私たちのとこにその時に来てもらえればと思います。ジョセリンも私も待ってます。はい、じゃあ今日はありがとうございました。
Thank you so much.
それじゃあ
ありがとうございます。バイ